Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Bison Workshop. I'm Bob, and I was getting ready to build something, a new part, and I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to show this part being built so you guys get an idea of what I have to do to make these parts. And uh, I'm going to try to put you up here on the computer so that you can see, because I don't know how to do the screenshot videoing, so I don't know how to do that. So I got a contraption here that I bring out, and I can put this on each monitor because the poles on my monitors, it's just a PVC pipe put in there with a piece of copper on top of it, like that swings around, and I can get different angles. So we're going to try to put you here on that monitor and show you how I make these parts. So what I'm working on right now is plugs for each fill probe. The only problem is not many of them are the same, so you'd have to have so many different applications. But you know, I've got one here that's for the AEA, and it measures 8.86 millimeters. And then this one measures 8.83. But those are supposed to be the exact same one for the exact same gun. So even the same gun has two different ones. So some of these don't even work out of the damn box anyway. But then we've got the one for the T1, T2, and the M1 Cattleman, and it measures 8.69. So those are, this one's 8.68. So then we've got our Diana Storm Rider, which is down there around about 6.94, and it's a short one. So then we've got one that measures, and I don't even remember what the hell this one goes to, 6.93, but it's like way longer. I mean, why can't they just keep the damn quick disconnect and be done with it, man? Why you gotta make us work so hard? But you can see the difference in the length. So, I mean, one's for one gun, one's for another gun, one's for another gun, one's for another gun. I got 4 different guns here. And the ones that are like this makes you have to go buy something else. So anyway, we're going to make a plug that goes in to the fill probe hole with, we're going to try to shoot for doing grooves in it so that we can add O-rings to it. Now basically all it is just a piece of round plastic with 2 grooves in it, 2 lengths, with a little nub on it so that you can grab a hold of it and pull it out when you go to fill it up. Alright guys, this is not the best setup in the world, but it's the best I can do right now. So anyway, so now we want to measure the length of this from here all the way to the end. And that comes to 27 millimeters. So we're going to go over here and grab a cylinder, and we're going to put it on the board, and the length is going to be this part right here. So I click on that, and then I click on the number, and then I change that to 27.00. Alright, so now we've got our length set. Now the next thing we want to do is slide over here to sides and slide that all the way forward, and it gives you a smoother finish. And so now we need to determine the width. So we said what that was, but we can't remember what we said it was. 869. So we're going to change both of these to 869. 8.69. Then we do the same thing to this side. 8.69. Alright, so now we've got the cylinder size. Now we need to put a button on it. So now we're going to grab another box or circle, and we're going to change the sides on it. Always make sure to change your sides because it'll be a rough look. I'll show you what I mean. See how many sides there are? And the more you go up, the less sides there are. So I just always max mine out. Alright, so now we want to make that, we're going to say what, 5 millimeters, 5.00. And this, we want to make it about 2 millimeters bigger than this, all the way around it. So for two sides, you're going to have 2 millimeters. So we want to add 4 millimeters to this, to what this is. So then I'll go over to my calculator and I will calculate, let's see, 8.69 plus 4 gives me 1269. So now this one here is going to be 1269. So 12.69. I'm having a hard time seeing my buttons or my keys. Alright, 12.69. Alright, now we're going to bring this, let's change the sides of this a little bit. We've got the sides on it, so now we want to try to do a segment here. I just want to bevel the edge of that just a little bit, just so it's not so sharp on your fingers. Alright, so now that we've got that set, you can see what, let me move that out of the way and show you this. So now I have a bevel on both sides. This is what your hand's going to pull the probe out with. So now I'll grab this piece and bring it over close, and then I'm going to select both of those. And the way you do that is you just click anywhere out here outside of it and drag, hold your clicker, and then let off, and it grabs both of them. So now we're going to go up here and we're going to hit align, and we're going to align it that way, and we're going to align it that way, but we're not going to align it this way because we want that to be at the bottom. So now you have what appears to be what you're looking for, but it's not quite. Remember, we brought this over and centered it. So now we need to bring this up to where the bottom of that is just meeting the top of this one, because we don't want to lose our length. So what I usually do to make it easier for me to know that they are attached in one piece, I'll turn that into a hole. So now I've got it selected. It looks like a hole. So now we're going to hit, we're going to hold down Control, and then we're going to hit the arrow up until that gets up there close. Now it's above it now. So now we need to go down here and change the how far it goes. So now let's zoom in here. Now the way you can tell that this is met is now I'm going to hold the control and hit the down button, and I've got it on moving a hair at a time. So we'll bring it down until we see it turn black. There it goes. So now we bring it back up. Now it's just right above it. So now I go down one until I see the sunshine shape, and then I'll go one more. That marries these two together. So now I want to turn this back into a solid. Now my piece is made. So now we got to group it and make this all one piece. So now we hit group. Now that is all one piece. Now we need to do our O-ring grooves. So we need to grab a torus. That'll be our O-ring. So now we need to find out what size this O-ring is. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to smooth the sides. We don't want no line shapes. So now we need to decide what size O-ring we need. So now I get to measure the O-ring. So we're going to go 1.70 on the height. 1.70. Alright. Now we need to determine the outer diameter, which is going to be, we're going to have to calculate some stuff here. $869, so we're going to change that to 869. So we're going to change that 8.69, enter. Same thing with this one, 8.69, enter. So now this is just a millimeter bigger than this side. So, well, at least I think it is, but we'll find out. So now we're going to raise that up. Well, I got to get it to where it's on a move. I've got it set for slow-mo. Alright, so now we want to put two of these in. So we're going to kind of move up to where we can see where we're at. And we're just going to put these around about right there, and then I'm going to copy that. So I'm going to hit copy, and then we're going to move that one up until it's around about the same distance. And you don't have to be perfect, it's just to hold it in the hole. So now we've got them where we want them. Now we're going to turn them both into a hole, and I'm going to hit shift and hold it, and then I'm going to click the other blue one, and we're going to turn that into a hole. So these O-ring grooves, actually, you know what, I think I'm going to do something different to these. I'm going to group them together here. Alright, then we're going to, because this doesn't look right. This O-ring groove ain't going to look right. I'm wondering if maybe I shouldn't have used one of these instead. I think I will. So we're going to delete those. And we're going to do our sides. Alright. And then we're going to make that, what did we say it was going to be? 1.68, 1.69. Alright, then we'll do the outer diameter, which was 8.6. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, 8.69. So 8.69. Damn it. And 8.69. Alright, so now we need to see if this is going to work. So I'm going to put it right there where I can see that it's attached. And then we're going to raise it up. And then we're going to center that right there. And then we're going to look at it from the top and see how it looks. That's about what that O-ring groove is going to look like. So I'm happy with that. So here's what I'm going to do. I got to deselect everything and then select just the ring. And we're going to turn that into a hole. So we're going to make this at 8.6 or 8.7. Yeah, we're going to make it 8.70. So 8.70. And then we're going to make this one the same, just a hair bigger. Alright, then we're going to recenter that because we changed the size and it's going to make it different. So now we'll recenter that. So now we've got our O-ring groove made. So now we're going to select it and we're going to drop it around about right there. Now you see why I made that 870? Because before, when I went to cut that, it would have had some flat spots because this thing, you can't get any sharper with the sides. So it leaves a bunch of little flat spots. So I just made that just a hair bigger to go outside of the orange so that we get a solid hole. So now we're going to hit copy, and then we're going to drop that down to right about around there. Alright, so now we're going to group that. In fact, before I do, I'm going to select these and save them. And we're going to copy those because I like to have a copy of those. And then we're going to group them together so that they stay together. Alright. Now we're going to group this one. And now we have our O-ring grooves. Alright. And there's so many different O-ring grooves out there, or O-rings, that in different sizes that you can make fit perfect. So now I'm gonna copy that, but we're gonna move it out of the way. So now you've got your pen. You see what I mean by the steps? The closer you get to it, you got these little steps. It's not completely round. So now I see something else that we need to straighten up. We need to take the corners of this because it's real sharp. We don't want a sharp corner. So what we want to do is we want to bevel the edge of that. Now I'm going to show you a trick on how to do that. So we go over here and we grab us where'd it go? A cone. and we're going to grab a cylinder. And we're going to move this out of the way. And this is going to be a part. It's actually going to be a tool. So now we're going to turn, or make sure you do the sides, because I always forget that, and I've been pretty good about remembering it. Now these are both the same size. So now we're going to we're going to line these two up. Now they're centered to each other. So now I want to turn the purple one into a hole. So now we're going to group that, and now we have a beveling tool. See that volcano in there, upside down volcano? Alright, now we're going to flip this over where it was, and then we're going to turn it into a hole. So now we're going to bring this over together. We're going to center both of them to each other. Center. Now select the hole, bring it all the way to the top. Then we select them both, because I can't get to it good enough. Now I think I just found a problem. Yeah, alright, we're gonna have to redo this. I'll show you what I did wrong. I got too cocky. That's what I did. So we're going to ungroup that, and we're going to take the cone, and we're going to drop. I got to get both of them deselected. We're going to grab just the cone, and we're going to bring that down to where it's the same size, and then we're going to group it. Now we're going to turn it into a hole. So now we know we're going to get our bevel. So now let's take this and group it back together and center everything. Center that way and that way. And then we're going to bring it up to the top. Alright, so now you select the hole, which you can see through, and you notice as I'm going up, the cylinder is less black. So now we're just taking the edge or the corner off of it. So now we're going to group all that. And look at there. We have a pen that's not so sharp. I probably could have done less of a bevel, but that'll work. So remember, this is not holding any pressure. All this is just a plug. And now let's get a little creative. Let's turn this thing over. And I'm going to put my logo in the end of that. So here is my other ideas. So now we're going to make a text. Bring this over into view here. And we're going to back it out, and we're going to do Bison. Alright. Now we need that to fit the head of this pen, or the head of that thing. So now we're going to bring that down real small. And then we're going to bring it up. So now we need to bring it down some more. Now we're going to move it into place. And we're going to spread that out a little bit more. Spread this one out a little bit more. We got room. And then I'm going to bring it down this way a little bit more. And now we're going to move that over. And we're going to center all that. Alright, so now it's centered. So now we're going to pick it. And we need to bring it down a little bit, but let's find out where the bottom's at. Alright, that's an awful long one. So we need to bring that down to... We can do raised letters, which is move that down one, but first we need to make sure we're at the top. So we're going to turn that into a hole just so we can see when it hits the top. And that wasn't it, so we went too far. So now we got to turn my grid off, and we're going to raise that to where it just touches. Right there. So now I'm going to change my grid to 1 millimeter. So we're going to go 1 millimeter deep. Alright, so now we're going to bring this down to where it's raised. Now, I'm thinking to turn that into a hole instead of a raised letter. We don't want it sticking out too far. Some of these places on this board you can't hardly get to. So I gotta move everything so we can see it real good. There we go. That's how high those will be. So let's try to bring that down a little bit more. Wrong one. Alright, so now we're selected there. And we're going to bring that down just a little bit more. I think we're going to do raised letters. So if you want to do raised letters, you turn that into a solid. If you want it to be indented letters, you turn it into a hole. So we're going to make this where it... Oh, we can't. We're going to have to do... We're going to have to do a hole. And I'm not real sure how it's going to print. Unless it will print like that. I don't know if it'll print like that. I would have to put a brim around it when I printed it. Because I kind of like the raised letters. I'd rather have the raised letters. So we're going to try this with raised letters. All I have to do is go in and redo this. So let's just group them two together. Alright, now let's change the color to a more appealing color. That's what it's going to look like. So I would probably have to do this on a really well leveled bed. You gotta make, this is gonna be one of them things you're gonna have your ducks in a row when you go to print it, because what it does, it prints from here up. It just keeps going up until, and then, you know, sometimes it catches a bead or something, or a low spot, or something that it might have made a mistake on, and it will hit it just hard enough to knock it loose, because it ain't got but that little bit there to hold it. So if I put a brim on that gets higher, that might work. So because I want to keep my raised letters, And if I was to turn this the other way to where this was flat on the table to give it more surface area, what it's going to do, it's going to think that the raised part is below the board. Or, well, I'll show you what it's going to do. Alright, so here's what it'll do. So let's drop that to the board, and then let's go underneath here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. You see what I mean here? The bottom of the piece is the top of the letters. So what it'll do, it'll print the letters, but then when it gets to the top of the letters, or the bottom of the letters, it's not going to know how to print this out here because there's nothing to hold it. So it's going to start this, but not finish. And then it's going to mess up right in here, right as it gets started, and then if you're not paying attention, you'll lose your board to a bunch of plastic wool. So there's my piece. So that's how I make my pieces. So now we're going to turn that back upside down. We're going to drop it to the board. So now we've got all the surface area down here to work with, and let's just hope that it prints. This is going to be an interesting print because we have a spot that could be an issue. I'll show you what I mean. This could be an issue. We're just going to turn that upside down temporarily. And when it gets to this area here, I don't know if it's going to print that right, because the area right here is at a 90-degree angle of the bed, or level with the bed, so it's basically a 90-degree hangover. So I'm wondering if maybe I shouldn't have beveled this a little bit more, because then it can do a gradual up, but it can't do a straight across. But we're going to give it a shot and see how it works. If it messes up, it messes up. We'll see. So now I'll turn that up and I'll drop it to the board and make sure that it is on the board, because I've had prints mess up like that. And that's going to be our plug for the... So now I want to go test and see how much room I have around it to make sure that this here handle isn't too big. So there you have the plug that I'm going to be putting up for sale, and I'm going to do the same thing but for these, and that one there will probably fit this one too, because it's so close. So you probably have to just get a bigger O-ring, but just barely bigger. But these two are so close to being the same size that they're probably considered the same size. Who knows? Maybe they changed them. So I'm going to try to offer them for the Diana Storm Rider. I don't know what that one's for. Yeah, I have no clue what this one's for. Huh. I'll have to find out, won't I? It probably goes to my... Sorry about that, guys. My battery died on me. But anyway, we're going to try to offer these for on Bison Air Rifles and Parts.com. I'm just making them right now, so I gotta test them first. If they work, they'll be up soon. So look for that to happen. Just keep checking on my website on Bison Air Rifles and Parts, and if it's there, I got them, and it worked. If they're not, they didn't work. But if they do work, they'll be up very soon. So anyway, we got to see how they print, and right now I've got the oh man, I knew it. I got a printer messing up on my bands that I'm making for the AEA. So I got to get over there and get rid of that nest. They're not wanting to print right because of the way I made them. I may have to redesign the way they set on the board, because there's just too many thin places. So I might have to remove the holes. But however, I've got my oldest printer, the first one I ever bought. It's working on the one, and it's doing just fine. So apparently that printer over there just doesn't like that kind of work. So this one seems to be doing okay. They both have the same filament, so just had to order some more of that stuff the other day. But we might have to print the other 3 parts on the first printer I ever got. It seems to be doing okay. So we may find that we have to print them each part separately. If that's the case, boy, that's going to be a 3-day frickin' print, 3 or 4 day print, because it takes a full day and 23 hours to print all that goes underneath the barrel, between the barrel and the tank. And I just hope that if I can get them to work right. I'll show you the one here that's printing right now, and it seems to be doing okay. It's got a few little hiccups. Let me get a flashlight here to show you. But it seems to be doing okay. It did the Bison on the side there, you can see. And it's starting on its 3rd vent hole. So I'm hoping that's going to work out okay. Now this one over here, you see what it's doing. And I didn't realize it was doing that. Oh, it makes me mad. So we'll stop this one from printing. Oh, look at that mess. Daggone it. So this one here seems to be okay doing it. This one over here does not. Goes to show you the Pro ain't all it's made out to be. In fact, I like the original Ender 3 rather than the Ender 3 Pro. I despise that Pro. Yeah, it's quieter, and some of them ain't quiet, but it doesn't work as good as that old Ender 3. The Ender 3 Pros, both of them, I have problems out of them every time I turn around. You can't move your work, or you can't pause your work. Well, you can pause it, but the head won't move out of the way. So this one here, the older one, has the setting in it where if you need to change the filament in the middle of the print, it'll allow you to do it and eject the plastic. The Pros don't. So what's so pro about it? A lot of fault. Anyway, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. You guys have a good one. Later.